eventually learn how to start these things in a really composed way. But I'm really excited to, I guess, be back on YouTube with another video specifically for YouTube. And I've got a few things to show you that I'm really excited about. I'm in my creative den. Right when you walk in the front door of our house, there's den space. And over the last 6 years, this space has seen so many different transformations because it's kind of an awkward room. It's probably the room in the house that has the most character, or it did have a lot of character. It was, when we first moved in, it was bright red. Like, I would say blood red. Not bright red, blood red. It was a blood red room. Minimal lights. Every wall was red. There was, there used to be like a fireplace right here. It didn't work. And then the ceiling, I'll show clips of this, but the ceiling is like that faux tin stuff. Sorry, my animals are being animals. And yeah, there used to be like this other little tucked in part because our house, when we moved in, was renovated. Not very well, but it had been renovated. And our neighbors next door to us have the exact same house. And so we got to see what the house would have looked like in its original state. So like where we put in a powder room last year, and where we put in the powder room, it actually used to be the hallway that led to the basement stairs and to the kitchen, which is like so crazy to me. It's a little like, there's some things that they did that I would have changed. Like they did add in a beautiful pocket door. It's beautiful is putting it very nicely. It's cool because it's got character. But like the hardware has fallen off the door and it's not the easiest thing to move. But in the process of them kind of blocking off that hallway, they closed up all of the beautiful woodwork on the staircase. So that's like the part that kind of gets to me. But yeah, so this room has seen a lot of different transformations. I have uploaded all of my previous videos, so you'll kind of see what this room looked like when I first moved into it a few months ago. It used to be Nick's office, but now he's taken what is the master bedroom upstairs for his office, and this is my space. I do have my workspace in the basement, but this is my space to just do creative things for myself. So I did give it a makeover. I sold all of the furniture in here. I had, scoured Facebook Marketplace for a while and picked up all of these like really cool desks and stuff, but I was in a different room when I did that. And then I moved down here and it's a much smaller space and I have a lot of creative hobbies. So I gave it a makeover, and now I would say I spend like, oh gosh, I spend a lot of time in here. I paint in here, I sew in here, I can come in here and knit if I want to, and close the door. And it holds everything. And I'll show after, but I have these little they're like locker style, and they do lock, which is perfect for kids. So one of the units is designated to my art supplies and my yarn, and that helps keep me in check and not buy a lot of yarn. I do have some up here on the shelf, but these are like sweater quantities, and everything down below is like one-off skeins and stuff. And then the other locker is all of my sewing, because I do keep my machines in there. I have a serger and a sewing machine, and then I keep the fabrics that I want to work with in the immediate future. And then my desk has storage as well, which I really love. But anyways, I'm excited. I figured out the lighting, I think. So I'm excited to shoot more of my videos in this space because it's my favorite, and it inspires me, and I just feel so creative in here. So a couple of things that I want to show you today. I've got some whips. I do have an FO. It's not knitting related. I will have one of those soon. I'm planning up my garden for next year, so I have some stuff to show you there. I do have a new yarn acquisition. It was kind of an impulse purchase, but I think it's going to be my next cast on, so that's okay. And then yeah, I think we'll just kind of go from there. There's I have quite a bit on my needles and some things that I think I'm going to be frogging, so we can talk about that. But I wanted to start off with my design. I have made quite a bit of progress. So I have finished one sleeve, and I started this one this morning. So I've got quite a bit of ways. I am playing yarn chicken. I do have a third cake, or a third skein that I can use up. I was hoping I wouldn't have to, but I'm very excited, and I do really love how this fits. I'm really, really excited to get it finished and block it and then actually see how it fits. I'm very, very excited. I love it so much. And we found this magical street not too far from where we live that we drove down, and it turns out that there is a sunflower farm on the road, and they had actually reached out to Nick and invited him to come take photos. So I'm really hoping that I can get this finished this week and we can take the photos, even though the pattern won't be coming out for a while, just because I think it would be so beautiful to do it in a sunflower field with all of the sunflowers in bloom. So that is my first whip. I am using my my Corriedale base, which I love. I've tried this on a bunch of times and it's not scratchy. Like, I'm amazed. I actually find that mohair makes me itch. This, I've had no issues with it so far. I'm really excited, and I've been talking with the mill, and I've got more on the way, which I'm beyond excited about, and they were beyond excited to see what I did with their yarn. So I'm really, really excited about this new relationship. And yeah, so I'm using the main color is called Sedum. The brown, like this warm kind of beigey brown, is called Dune, and then this is the bare yarn, so it's just natural, nothing has been done to it. And I love this. I think this is going to definitely be a staple in my wardrobe this fall. I'm already planning out all of the outfits for it. And then while we're talking about Corriedale, last time I showed this, I had just started it, and this is the one that I am so unsure about. I'm not sure if I should keep going or if I should frog it. I love the yarn. I haven't touched it since the last video. So it was the quilted cardigan by Haley from Ozetta, and last time I had just done this back wedge. I guess it's a wedge. But then the next part is to start on your shoulder shaping. So you start with the collar. So this is like the collar, and this will get seamed to this part here. And then you pick up and knit, and then you start shaping, and then you join to knit in the round. But you have to do it on both sides. So this is like the back of the neck. So you would basically also knit the ribbing, and then you would attach it and pick up all of these stitches here, and then knit this while you knit the rib. So now that I'm looking at it, I kind of want to get back to it, but I love knitting in the round. So if it's a cardigan and I can steek it, I will do that. Hands down. I only steeked one cardigan and I loved it so much. So yeah, I don't know what to do because I really love the yarn. I love the idea of this. I'm just not I haven't touched it in weeks, which feels like a bit of a waste to have so much beautiful potential here and I'm not doing anything with it. So maybe you can let me know what you think I should do. I feel like I might have already made up my mind, but I don't know. I feel like maybe there's another cardigan out there for me that I can steek. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do because I think at one point it gets to like, you know, a few hundred stitches on the needles and you have to knit a row and then purl a row. And I don't hate purling. I don't love it. So I'd rather not have to do it. But I did start another whip just late last week. And I've made a lot of progress on this. So if you go back and watch some of my older videos, I talk a lot about Plotulopi and how much I love Plotulopi. So I am knitting the most basic sweater ever, but it's in Plotulopi and it's beautiful and I love it so much. So this color is called Deep Woods and it is honestly so stunning. So Plotulopi is an Icelandic wool. It's an unspun roving. It's all this stuff. Like I have a lot of it. But it comes in these discs. Look at all the colors that are in there. And so this, I got to an inch below the sleeve split when I needed to add a second plate, and that's holding it double. And then this is what it looks like. So I'm pulling from the center and I'm pulling from the outside. And this is what it looks like. The pattern is called the Versatile Sweater by Gregoria Knits, I believe. Some of her newer patterns are size inclusive. The only thing that bugs me is that this one is not super size inclusive, which is a bummer. It does have a ton of positive ease, but that is the only downside. I just wanted something oversized and comfy and quick, and this works up really quick. And I do love a circular yoke pattern. So I've been working on this a bunch. I did all of this in like 3 nights. And I'm very excited to wear it. I actually casted this on to go with my new coat. Yeah, I think this is kind of like my mood board for my fall wardrobe. So everything will be matching that. And I love this. So I ordered this from the Icelandic store. I believe it's just Google Icelandic store. To buy Plotulopi local for me, I would be paying about $13 to $15 a plate. These are called plates. And when I ordered from the Icelandic store, which is in Iceland, they're in Reykjavik. I think they were $6.50 each Canadian. And even with shipping, it was cheaper for me to buy from them. And it came so fast. And they included an Icelandic chocolate bar, which was very delicious. I did not share that with the family. But yeah, so I am actually super tempted to order some more of this color and knit. I want to knit Nick a sweater. And he said that he really, really liked this color. I do have this one. I can't remember what this one was called for the life of me. But this one is very close, but it's got more green in it. So I could use that too and just pull from stash. But I definitely see more sweaters in this color in my future. Like if I could have all of the sweaters be this color, I'm obsessed with it. It is so beautiful. So that's Plotulopi. It's just so beautiful. I took a really cool photo on my phone, and you can see all of the fibers. It's just so beautiful to look at. Which I think is also why I'm not really knitting that cardigan, because I'm just in love with this. But I'm like, maybe I could just find a pattern that I love as much as I love that yarn to knit. So if that's this one, and I'm actually using it in one of my new acquisitions. My favorite bags for knitting are Morgan from the Knitting Nellie. She makes these gorgeous patchwork bags with amazing fabrics. So this is my newest one. I have a lot of her bags. So actually, like all of my whips are currently in her bags. This is my newest one. And before that, I got this one, which I love. With the mushrooms. It's on both sides, and she's got the cutest little tags. And then all of my sock projects are currently in her bags as well. So you should definitely check out her stuff. It does sell out really fast, but her bags are amazing. So I love them. My FO is my jacket. So this is the Gibson Coat by Kira of It's All in the Stitch. The amazing thing about this, I had a bunch of pattern suggestions for coats, but the thing that I loved the most about this was that this pattern is actually written to be quilted. So when you cut out your pattern pieces, you cut out the first part, which has like, I think, a ½ inch seam allowance. Seam allowance for trimming, because when you quilt, you want to allow yourself to have more surface space, because the fabric is going to move and shift and stuff like that. And so once you've quilted all of your pieces, then you take the pattern piece and you cut out the second portion, lay that on top, and then cut out your like reel to sew pieces. So I learned a lot with this. I'm very excited. This is meant, I'm gonna make another one because I want to add a hood. I think that's the only thing that's kind of missing from this one, is it needs maybe like a collar or a hood. But I do really love this, especially if I can make myself an oversized scarf or cowl or something to wear with it. But I pulled some of my favorite fabrics. There's a whole mix. There's some linens. I've had this one for a while and I never knew what to use it for, and I almost got rid of it in a de-stash, but then I decided to use it. So the moths, which are super pretty. There's some warp and weft fabrics in here, which was a special collection from Ruby Star Society. I love, this one is probably my favorite, and it's actually super cute because it's an Anne of Green Gables. I was about to say yarn fabric. And then this black one here is actually metallic. I don't know if you can see it shining. So there's a lot. And then if you saw my Instagram stories, the snaps were a bit of a pain in the butt, but I used this beautiful crinkle cotton on the inside, and everything is lined with bias. So I could technically wear this inside out, but I did put a tag on it. It says one of a kind. so the tag would stick out, but I don't really care about that. And yeah, I love it so much. I might, for the next one, I did size C. Let's see here. You'll see what I mean in a second about it needing a scarf or something. So this is what it looks like on. And next time I will have to do a longer sleeve. Not the longest sleeve, but I have this one specific, it's a store-bought oversized turtleneck sweater, which is, they're like my go-to in the fall, especially last year, like having to wake up and do school with Otis. But if I have like an oversized sweater and the sleeves kind of hang down a little bit further, that doesn't bug me at all. It's fashion, right? And then I'm really, really happy with the length. I don't know, working with limited space. But yeah, that's where it sits. And then you can see where the sleeve sits. So I'm really, really happy. The snaps were a pain in the butt, so I'm never gonna do snaps again. I'll probably do buttons next time, like a really large wooden button, or maybe like those ones where you add a tie and then it loops over that like oblong button that's like tapered. Anyways, I want to make another one, and probably won't do a patchwork. I'll probably just do solid fabric and then still quilt it, because this is like the best quilting I think I've ever done. It's so good. Yeah, I love it. I'm really, really happy with this, and I loved the pattern. It was so easy to follow. It was a really, really good sewing experience, and it worked up really fast. I cut all of the fabric out on a Friday night. I did all of the quilting, so figured out so cut it out on Friday night, did all of my layout, played with the squares to figure out where I wanted it to go. I chain piece when I quilt, so I did all of my piles. And then Saturday I did all of the piecing, and then I think I started the quilting, and then Sunday I finished the quilting and sewed it all together. So it was a really quick project. It was a lot of work, but I loved it. Like the entire process from start to finish was just really, really great. So I really recommend that pattern. I'm having tea in my new to me mug. We went thrifting yesterday, which we don't really ever do very much. This was $3. And it's just a tiny little mug, but it works. My only yarn acquisition is a really good one. Ta-da! I have one other sweater quantity of shelter in my stash, which is Woodsmoke. It's a nice neutral. But funny thing about this, I started a sweater with this last year, and then I stopped because kind of similar thing, like if it doesn't bring me joy and I'm not knitting on it, I don't see the point in continuing anymore. So I still need to figure out what to do with this, but one of my local yarn shops, the Knitting Loft in Toronto, they had a Brooklyn Tweed pop-up, and because I'm in Canada, if I was to order from Brooklyn Tweed, the price looks really great online because it's US dollars, but the exchange rate is just so horrible, and then plus duty and tax in shipping, it would be really expensive. So I bought this from the pop-up back in, I think December, like a while ago. And then I just happened to go online to their website and see if they still had anything left over from that pop-up back in December. And they had wool socks, which I just think is so perfect. And it's just this perfect kind of warm, rusty red brown color. So my plan is to make a sweater with this. I'm a little bit concerned about the yardage. I had intended to do, when you go back and watch some of my older videos, you'll hear about my knitting goals for this year. One was to steek, which I've done. One was to knit myself a cabled sweater, which I have not done. And one was to do color work. It was a different color work pattern, but I have since given up on that. So I have this color work, and then I have another color work sweater that I really want to start. But that one is going to be a lot. I'll talk about that in the next video probably. So the cabled sweater that I want to do, it is a cardigan, which is also like, oh gosh, am I going to be able to do this? But it's the Willa cardigan from Sari Knits. And there's a couple of my friends are also knitting it, so we're kind of just like cheering each other on, I think. But somebody started it, one of them started it, and one sleeve took one skein. So if I am banking on having enough yarn, and these are my sleeves, that leaves me with this for a body. And because I don't have any experience with knitting a cabled cardigan or sweater in general, I'm like, does it take more yarn? Am I gonna have enough? What if I run out? So now I'm not sure if I will be using this for that pattern. I have to figure it out, but this is so beautiful. So I know that this is what I want my next cast on to be, because I think that this would be a stunning color to have for fall. So I have to figure that out, because I really do want to knit. I would say that knitting a cabled sweater is like my biggest goal. It's also my biggest fear, because I don't have any experience with knitting. I knit a sock with cables and that's it. That's all I've ever done. So yeah, I have a sweater quantity of that. That was my yarn acquisition. So if you know of any other cabled sweaters or cardigans or anything that use a worsted weight yarn, I am all ears. I do, yeah. Willa is like my #1 contender, but I'm definitely open to other suggestions, because I don't have all of the time in the world to like peruse Ravelry like I wish I did. And then I'm gonna segue into painting, because I've talked yarn, I've talked sewing, so let's talk about painting. So this past week, Nick and I celebrated our 8-year wedding anniversary, and we didn't have anything planned. It was a Tuesday, and kids and stuff like that, I think both of us, even the day before, kind of forgot that it was the next day. Just because, like, what are days of the week anymore? But he ended up surprising me by dropping the kids off at his parents' so we could go for lunch. And he also took me to the art store, which was really, really dangerous. But in high school, I did art. Art was my thing. My parents kept saying, what about math? What about science? No. I knew I was always going to have a job in art. Even in college, I knew that's what I was going to do. In high school, I was very into oil paints. They were my favorite. And then when I went to college, it really shifted the focus to acrylic painting and a lot of drawing. Figure drawing was probably my favorite. Sitting in a room and it's just you and a pad of newsprint and some charcoal and your model, and it was just so much fun. And then I did photography after that. So art has always been a thing for me. So he treated me and got me set up with a whole bunch of oil paints. Like, I have this massive thing of oil paints now. I have picked up a few more colors since, because I'm taking an online class, and I have a whole bunch of different brands. Like, this one's a Japanese brand. I have their watercolors. Yeah, like just a whole bunch of different brands. Winsor & Newton is probably really recognizable. Their stuff is really great. So yes, he set me up with oil paints. He also set me up with like brushes. I've used these ones, which is why they're tinted. Palette knives. I am eventually going to try my hand at doing a Bob Ross painting. So I literally have every single thing that Bob Ross uses to complete a painting. I just need to actually figure out which Bob Ross painting I want to do, because it turns out there are 33 seasons of his show, and in total he completed 1,200 paintings, which is just mind-blowing to me. But yeah, eventually I will try my hand at a Bob Ross painting. But Nick set me up with everything that I could possibly need to do oil painting, and I took a class and I completed my first painting, which you might have seen on Instagram. I have my second painting. It's up here, so I just need to get onto the canvas, which I'm very excited about. And one of my favorite things to paint with when I'm doing, I don't have it out right now, it's tucked away. When I'm doing my watercolors, I like to use palettes, obviously, for mixing. But one of my favorite companies, I can never seem to get onto their updates when they're doing their actual, like, their large palettes and stuff like that, and they're so beautiful. But I did manage to get a small one. They're called Sugar House Ceramic Company. They're out in Nova Scotia, and they make all of these by hand. And they're beautiful and they're stunning, and I just love it. It's just so timeless. So I have two now. I have this one, and the other one I have is technically a paintbrush like holder tray thingy. It's probably about yay big, and it's just one flat thing. You've probably seen me paint with it before, but it's actually just a paintbrush rest, but I use it as a palette. I ended up asking them if it could be used as a palette, and they said absolutely. So yeah, this just came in the mail. I'm excited. I'll have to do a painting with it. I don't think I have any. Oh no, I do. So I'm toying with the idea of submitting a painting to a local brewery, and I don't know if maybe you guys can help me figure this out, but they put artists' work on their cans, and artists get paid for this. It's not free or anything, and you still have the right to your work, so you can share it and whatever. So I'm toying with the idea. The submission deadline is the end of this month. But I had this idea to do my florals, but do a different take on it. So I wanted to do a mix of line work with the watercolor. So this is what I have for my test one so far. So I drew all of my flowers in pencil, and then I did the first outline, and then I've gone in and painted around everything to create this like really cool watercolor backdrop, and then now I will go in and do all of the line work and the detail work on the flowers. But I'm not sure if that's like too boring for a can or not bright enough for a can. I don't know. It's like one of those things that you start to psych yourself out and you're like, should I really be doing this? Like, do I have any business doing this? So that's one of the things that I'm working on with watercolors. But yeah, I think oil painting has kind of taken my attention right now. I'm really, really enjoying getting back into that. And then to segue again into gardening, I got my seeds this week. I didn't go too crazy, but it feels like I did go a little bit crazy because it's like a stack of seeds like this. So I order, one of the things, if you're going to be doing seeds and you don't know what you're doing, like I didn't know what I was doing earlier this year, is you want to purchase your seeds from your area. So you need to find out what zone you are so you can know what to plant and what is ideal for your zone. But you also want to purchase seeds from your area because you know that they're coming, like this is a farm, so they collect their own seeds. So they're in Ontario. So I know that it'll work for where I am. So yeah, I order from Hawthorn Farm. And so I've done a bunch of things. So I tried to do sweet peas this year and they were actually growing and doing good, and then they were completely eaten by squirrels. So I got 2 packs of the sweet peas. It's the April in Paris variety, which I think is like it's a creamy white with a hint of purple at the edges. So it sounds super purple, super pretty. So I got sweet pea in Paris, and I did sunflowers. I got sunflowers because I really want to have sunflowers next year. I'm going to plant them. We have a side garden bed that gets a lot of sun. So sunflowers are destined for there. I think I only got the one. Yeah, I only got the one because I think there's 100. I think there's 100 seeds in here. It doesn't. 100 to 150. There you go. So I'm really excited to have sunflowers. These ones, sorry, I'm reading it. What does it say? The flowers are soft yellow, rubber duck yellow, copper, bronze, terracotta, chocolate, deep red, and a few two-tone striped ones. So it's a complete mix of sunflowers, which I think is going to be beautiful. There will be all kinds of shapes and sizes as well. So there will be massive sunflowers, but there will also be smaller multi-branching heads full of striped seed. It says it's great fun for kids, beautiful cutting flowers, and food for the birds if you leave them to go to seed. And that's the plan, is I want to leave them, let them do their thing, go to seed, and then hopefully in 2 years we'll have even more sunflowers, which would be really exciting. I also got some cosmos because the cosmos are doing really good in the backyard for me. The one that I did plant, or I planted 5, I did not grow them from seed, but I ended up getting two different varieties. So I got one called Blush Cupcake. So it'll be a pale pink, obviously, and it's shaped like a cupcake wrapper or a ballerina tutu. So Blush Cupcake, and then I got the Versailles mix, which I think has like purples. Shades of soft pink, white, pink with a white eye, and carmine red. There you go. Not even. And I also got Baby's Breath to try. I'll probably plant this one in a pot and see how it goes. I love Baby's Breath. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. I think it's very pretty. I got some more poppies. Poppies did not do well for me this year, but I'm hoping that I'll have a better idea of how to manage those. And then the thing that I'm most excited for is zinnias. I want to have zinnias this year. So I got a next year, Queen Red Lime, a Queen Orange Lime. They're so beautiful. And then I got something called Jim Baggett's Cutting Mix. So the colors include yellow, apricot, orange, peach, red, pink, and magenta with some two-tone flowers in the mix. So yeah, I'm very excited about the zinnias. I really, really hope that the zinnias take. The dahlias have been doing so good, so I feel very, very positive about that. And I'll give you guys a garden tour at the end of this video, because the dahlias look so beautiful right now. And there's so many, and there's some hidden in, and I'm still trying to figure out the spider issue. If you didn't see on my Instagram, there are spiders right now. Yes, they're in their home, in their environment, but I have an extreme fear of spiders, which I'm trying to work on. Smaller ones don't necessarily bug me as much anymore, but these ones are like the size of quarters, and they just pop out and they move really fast. And I just don't like it. So I don't necessarily want to kill them. I would kill them, but I'm saying I wouldn't, because I understand that I have created a home for them to live in. I just want them to move somewhere else. Like maybe not stay in the barrels of dahlias that I have to like poke around in every single day. And even like the other day, Otis and I went out to check on the strawberries, and I got my gloves on this time, and I was like, we're gonna do this oats, it's gonna be great. And I grabbed a bunch of the stems from the foliage of the strawberries, and I peeled it back, and Otis was like, Mom, there's a spider. And sure enough, on the bottom side of the bunch of leaves that I was holding was one of the quarter-sized spiders just sitting there waiting. And so yeah, I have to figure that out. Because that's the only downside to this gardening thing, are the spiders. Any other bug, don't care. Worms, love them. Spiders, hate them. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. That's pretty much everything that I wanted to show you today. And I'm gonna pop out to the garden probably later today when the sun has gone down, so that it's not like super bright, and show you. It's always really, really pretty first thing in the morning when the light is super soft, and then golden hour when the sun is starting to set. It's just pure magic back there. But anyways, I hope that you guys are well. I hope you're enjoying this. It's fun to talk more about the things that I'm working on, or things that are inspiring me here, as opposed to like oversharing over on Instagram all the time. I find Instagram to just be so exhausting lately. So this is a nice pace for me, and I hope that you're enjoying it. And if you have any suggestions on a cabled cardigan or polo, it doesn't have to be a cardigan, or sweater, I would love to hear it. It is a worsted weight yarn that I'm hoping to use. And yeah, I will be back again soon with another video, and we'll chat soon.